Broadcasting from our station, spinning 3,900 feet above the watery sphere.
I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
This is Monitor Duty.
Well, heidi ho and welcome. This is Reese signing on a Wednesday for Monitor Duty. Today, we are going into the depths of the outer realms, into space itself, to the planet at the heart of the galaxy, to discuss the Green Lanterns, or lanterns of sundry colors. Who knows? Who knows? Tankatron says they're not diverse enough. We should just call them lanterns to be inclusive.
Yeah. And this is all prompted by the Lanterns trailer that debuted a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it is. And I had seen the same comment many times. I saw the comment on Nerdrotic, and it drove me nuts because their expert, their authority on Green Lantern was a guy who started with Kyle Rayner. And so Hal was always a bad guy when he started reading. It's like, if your expert can't be somebody who starts with Kyle Rayner, I'm sorry. You have to have some familiarity with Hal Jordan.
If you started with Kyle Rayner,
yeah,
right.
I have nothing against. I understand people are younger than me. I understand.
No,
that.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is, like, I didn't really read a lot of Green Lantern before Kyle Rayner, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was aware of the character, but I was buying Batman, right? I was buying the Robin minis. I was buying Green Hornet. So it was in Kyle's book that I got to love Green Lantern as a concept. And that made me dive through the quarter bin for those Green Lantern quarterlies, the big books of all those short stories, and really appreciate that world. I wouldn't have done that if it had been for Kyle.
Yeah.
But
I was looking for that. And I couldn't find it with the light on in my eyes because it was right behind the light. So there we go. This is an Ertl Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
metal cast and everything.
Yes. And that's I have that, and I have the 1989 Batman and Joker, and it looks like Jack Nicholson. So I have a little metal Jack Nicholson. And and I also have Wile E. Coyote. So anyway, Green Lantern's been a favorite character of mine going way, way back. I started probably around the time Marv Wolfman was writing him, just intermittently. Like I first saw the one with the Omega Men crossover, the cover where they say, well, we'll just remove his whole hand. And they have a laser about to cut across his hand. And it's like, at the time, that was like, unthinkably brutal for a Green Lantern cover, and now they're just slicing hands left and right in Green Lantern, they do that in comics every day, but
which seems weird to me, right? Because one of the things about the Green Lantern,
I thought that was Star Wars' thing,
right? That's great.
Yeah.
Being part of being a fan of, part of the Green Lantern thing is that the rings have like this defense mechanism where they're like, they protect you if you get knocked out, right? The whole thing. So you think it's like, I'm going to chop the ring off. Well, oh my goodness, his whole hand is covered in an energy mitten. I never saw that coming.
Yeah, if the ring is dead, you should be able to take it off his hand anyway, because there's nothing keeping it there. It's not locked on his finger. Right. If it's dead, it's dead. You can just pull it off. And if it's if his ring is active, it should be protecting. And as it is, he uses his ring to blast the laser that's about to take off his hand. So, that's exactly what you're talking about. But and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about is over the course of decades, from the time that Hal Jordan was first conceived, the changes to the ring, the changes to the mythology, and here's what prompted it. Here's what prompted my wanting to do this. A little mini rant, okay? Everybody all over the internet keeps saying his costume is ring generated because they saw the image of the jacket on a hook or the jacket on a hanger in the closet. along with other clothes. Like he keeps his Green Lantern uniform there, and they're like, but it's just ring generated. And I do understand that he having it on a hook is weird, but his costume is always cloth, and the ring swaps his civilian clothes with his clothing. I don't know what it does with it. I don't care about it. It's that whole, what do they call it with the Mr. Fantastic's clothing? It's unstable molecules or something like that. You know, just say unstable molecules. And the fact that it doesn't make sense is okay. We buy that. It's just, oh, are you muted? You're muted. I can't.
Yeah, I was getting ready to blow my nose and I got sidetracked.
Oh, okay. but that's that just bothered me. Everybody everywhere is saying it. It's ring generated. It's like, it's not, because first of all, you don't want to be concentrating 24/7 on making your clothes appear. And we've got countless examples of him taking his ring off or running out of power, and he's still wearing clothes. He's not in his skivvies. So it is clothing, and he can alter it with the ring. If it gets wrecked, he can repair it with the ring, but it is fabric that he wears. And whatever the nature of it, I'm sure it's some advanced super science that, you know, the Guardians have that is way beyond our ability to comprehend, but it is clothing. And I understand that in the Lanterns universe, where it isn't going to be skin tight, but they have some sort of leather jacket look to it. If you want to show that image that we're talking about, just
I'm just hang on. I just one thing here. Yes.
Squeeze his legs, and he raised his right hand fist. Squeeze my legs. I think I'd do that too. And it depends how hard you're squeezing. It's like, we got a fourth person here. Okay.
Here, the DC's modernist form of unstable molecules is nanotechnology. Just say nanotechnology.
Just say nanotechnology, yeah.
Well, and I am pretty sure that I remember from one of those old issues of GLC Quarterly that the explanation was that the actually transmogrified the molecules of your clothes. So it's still your clothes. Mm-hmm. So it's the same outfit you were wearing, but it actually, the atoms and molecules shift into this new form. So so it can have new properties. So even if you weren't wearing a skin tight outfit,
meaning that if your Green Lantern uniform gets blasted, you've just lost your collector's item Simpsons shirt that you were wearing when you turned it into the Green Lantern uniform.
Well, yeah, but you can fix it though with the ring. That was that was part of the magic of the ring. Is it's not just light constructs. It actually has the ability to like reshape like matter and energy, which honestly makes more sense anyway when you understand. Like I made this little quantum joke.
Cartoonicus, breathe away from the mic.
I love seeing the rings of white around his face every time he breathes.
But anyway, because everything quantum-wise is made up of light anyway, it's all energy and matter. They're not different. They're the same thing in just different ways of being expressed. So the ring being able to do that isn't even as fantastical as like we think it would be.
Okay, counterpoint.
Go ahead.
Green Lantern's lame.
Well, you just made friends.
If that's your contribution, that's going to be pretty short.
No. Do I want to plumb the depths of that well?
I say let the audience do it.
Okay.
Yeah. The nature of the ring is another thing I was thinking of. You know, the nature of how at one time he probably had a cloth outfit. And yeah, if you ask them now, the whole explanation of it's either, you know, my clothing has now been changed into a Green Lantern uniform. It is the very clothing, or, you know, or it just is generated by the ring. Whatever the explanation is, the explanation is undoubtedly changed from, you know, historical versions of Green Lantern. So there's the shot from the trailer.
You gotta now, guys. Chat.
It's almost impossible.
You gotta squint. You gotta turn your head to 33 1/3 degrees, and you gotta say, the in a, I can't remember the in bright of day and dark of night, no evil shall escape my sight. And those who worship evil's might, beware my power, Green Lantern's light, and you'll just be able to make it out.
Yeah. It does look like the classic GL uniform in leather jacket form. I mean, it's got the shape, it's got the green shoulders, it's got the black sides, and it's just, they had to go with the jacket. And of course, this is a very dark image because it's a very dark show. It's basically True Detective with Green Lanterns thrown in.
It looks like it just hasn't been worn for a long time, right? Like, I have a suede vest that my dad got back in like the 70s that he gave to me, and it's very, very faded. And if anybody knows anything about like leather, you can color it, but leather will just lose its color over time if you just like hang it up and don't wear it. So like this whole thing could have been green at one point, and they're just trying to imply that Hal just like closeted and it's like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
And it's already kind of a soiled point on its own.
Well, and like the whole thing, like Hal makes a big issue in the trailer, because I just watched the trailer because I wasn't going to watch the trailer because I don't care about this stupid show, and you're not getting my money, right. DC. But Hutch is like, come on, watch the trailer. So I said,
so you know what we're talking about. I'm not crazy about the trailer.
But it was so frustrating because you've got like the haggard, tired, grizzled, like cranky Hal Jordan version of it, which it shows up in some things, and it's not like entirely without merit. But in the trailer, Hal makes a huge deal about being the Green Lantern, but he's not. He's not actually doing Green Lantern things or wearing the uniform or anything. He's just some schmuck. He might as well be Jeff Lebowski. It would make as much sense in the movie.
Yeah, but the premise is basically he's training his replacement. It's Men in Black type thing. He's old, he's tired, he's wanting to train his replacement. He's not ancient. He's not 90. He's just for whatever reason he's got a backup. And this is supposedly in the same universe with the Superman movie from last summer, which had Guy Gardner in a bright green ring, bright everything was bright. Why this is that way, and it's in the same universe, I don't know, but
because they're trying to
this
do
is an adult.
This
is an adult Western, 3 F-bombs per trailer type thing where they take the character who's on the underoos and make him a rated R character that you can't show kids. That's what they do with our superheroes now. So,
well, one of the things we were talking about, the F-bombs in the trailer, seems so weird because, like, okay, so the world Hal Jordan was supposed to have come out of was this world of Chuck Yeager, of the Mercury 7, of these test pilots and steely-eyed missile men. And these guys, there were some rough edges in this crew. There were some choice language that they had. Even a lot of the lingo that they came up with to talk about test pilot things they're kind of obscene if you break down what it means. But at the same time, it's like these guys are disciplined. They know how to maintain themselves. They know how to behave in public. They know how not to get the CO mad at them, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, I just don't understand why you'd go that direction with it. It doesn't really, I don't think it adds anything to the character to R-rate them. Right?
Yeah.
It just makes it more inaccessible. It closes off the number of people that can see the show.
Right. If this was a show that is entirely devoted to gritty, gory, it's going to be a rated R movie, whether there's F-bombs or not, then I get it. If that's what you want to do with, say, The Demon or your Phantom Stranger or whatever, something that really does lend itself to an adult interpretation, and you want to put swear words in it too because no kid's going to be watching this anyway.
Venom.
Okay, but if you're making a show that you take the swear words out and it's something you could be watching with your family, then it doesn't make any sense to do that. That's my take anyway. I don't see why we don't have anything for the families to watch anymore. They did the same thing with Star Trek,
Yeah, what's like
It's
the point of making it less family friendly than a fistful of dollars?
right.
Right? Right. Like,
You're
okay,
trying to get more of an audience, not less.
that is a perfect like example. Fistful of Dollars is gritty, it's gruesome, it's violent. It is, the characters are all borderline. Well, they're all evil in in varying degrees. They aren't really bad guys. They're just less bad guys.
But I'd show
right?
it to a 12-year-old.
I showed it. I showed it to my 12-year-olds. Right?
Yeah.
They grew up watching that movie. Right? And I mean, that's just like, it's just because that's just, oh my gosh, that's
now
a perfect
in
example
the
of
real
kind
world
of edge that they want movies to make, and instead of actually doing the work to create a tableau for characters to show forth this sort of serious sobriety, they just throw a 4-letter word in there to make it easier.
Yeah.
And I mean I do that too in my daily life sometimes, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's actually a good example. A Fistful of Dollars, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. In real life, guys like that would probably be swearing every other line, but they don't. And you can show this to kids. And it's the same as I was saying with war movies. And if we did a Sergeant Rock movie, they'd say, well, those guys will be swearing all the time, so we'll make it rated R. It's like, it doesn't have to. He didn't in the comic book. It's, you just go through the script and go, well, he doesn't have to say this. There. I
would totally watch a well done Sergeant Rock movie. That sounds like a fun time.
That would be awesome.
They were going to do one in the 80s. Joel Silver was producing it, and I don't know what happened to it. It's just development hell. Everything's in development hell.
I think Dave is on the money. They need to copy The Rocketeer. There's just that there hasn't been as faithful an adaptation since The Rocketeer, I don't think.
I'm just saying, a fistful of lanterns.
That's hilarious.
I was thinking about The Ring and how when we first saw the origin of Hal Jordan, the Ebenser searches for a replacement as he's dying, and because it's the last duty of a Green Lantern to find his replacement and pass it on, and since that time, it's like from the 90s onward, it seems the rings just operate like little mini computers and can function on their own without anybody giving them commands, like actively giving them mental commands of what to do. They'll just say, go fly off to here, and they do. And so it's like, well,
which
why then
deaden the impact of will to begin with?
Yeah. Why? But why do you have to exert your last energy finding a replacement if when you die your ring will just take off anyway? So you didn't have to do that.
Why have a person at all? Why not just let the rings go off and fight?
Well, that is what the Manhunters did. Then they kind of needed real
people. Hello, Millennium.
Yeah, but how smart the ring is, it changes based on the writer, obviously. But I never liked the idea that the ring could just tell you what to do. Like you go to kill somebody, it's like, no, Green Lanterns can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. And it's like, well, I preferred the early days where Hal just had this ring and he didn't know how it worked, and he has to figure out everything. And half the time, the comic was like, hey, I just figured out something new that I can do with this ring. It's almost like the Greatest American Hero. And then sometime around the 80s, it became, as soon as he has that, he gets summoned off to Oa and goes into basic training. And so he's immediately trained in how to use the ring, and he's put through grueling sessions on how to do it. And it's like, I prefer that that the Green Lanterns just, have to, from wherever they are, they have to figure it out on their own, because, you can't just have them all report for training. I prefer that take on it anyway. Yep. But it would be
one thing if it was a situation where like you get the ring, and so then you have like this vision of Green Lanterns doing the thing, and then you have to kind of figure it out from there.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Yeah, the Guardians aren't watching you, constantly through the ring, because there's 3,600 of them, and now there's 7,200 because they doubled it to 2 per sector. But and the sector thing we can talk all about. But I hate what Jeff Johns did to the sectors. Because first of all,
I hate what Jeff Johns did in general with the Lanterns.
I hate what Jeff
all of
Johns
it.
did. A lot of what Jeff Johns did. Yes, I could end the sentence there, but I hate what he did with the sectors. I hate that he turned them into the Care Bears, as PvP cartoon once said. He took Green Lantern, made it into Care Bears. It's like this is will and this is love, and it's like no. Willpower just referred to how you make the ring do what you want to do. You have to tell it what to do, and you have to exert willpower. And it's not like the person who has a love ring has to love the power glove into existence. You're using will.
If you said green was courage and everyone used will, then maybe there'd be something to it. But
Well, and like pretending will is an emotion, right? We've talked about this before, but that's just
not.
Crazy.
Courage is an emotion. Yeah,
I don't know why. For the longest time, I thought that it was supposed to be hope.
Well, that's
blue is hope. Yeah, blue is hope.
Oh.
Which also is
green
not
should
an
be
emotion.
courage, because like all of the actual Lantern stories are around like being brave and denying fear and stuff like that. So it's like,
even before,
why would you not just make it courage?
Thing was a thing.
What's that? Sorry.
Well, even before the yellow impurity was fear, right?
Mhm.
That was still like the idea that like everybody had to overcome their fear.
Yeah,
that was always.
But that's just like normal heroic thing to do, is to be
hero
brave
stuff.
So it only makes sense that you would do that.
Yeah.
And what we talked about, Jeff Johns changing the mythology. I hate that he had to come up with that whole monster hidden in the ring of to explain Parallax. It's like, nope. Parallax was a name that Hal Jordan picked because he had a different point of view from everybody else about the universe. That's what the term parallax means. It's like, I'm looking from over here, you're looking from over there. We have a different point of view. And
you remember back when comics actually taught kids new words the correct way? I do.
And now there's there's like a big centipede creature in the lantern, in the giant lantern, a yellow centipede creature called Parallax. And it's like, why? That makes no sense whatsoever. Why would it be called Parallax? And then there was just a stupid explanation to explain why Hal Jordan turned evil in a very badly written story in the mid-90s. And they had to have an explanation that took the shame off of him. And so, I get that Jeff Johns had to do a lot of stuff to undo these very bad decisions. He also had, like, Guy Gardner's DNA strips itself of the alien DNA that's half of it. It's like that you can't take away half his DNA. His DNA tells it how his body is made up. You can't do that. You could deactivate it. He's got this Voldarian DNA. If you take away the powers, that's fine. But it's like, no, he's back to normal, and get buzz cut. There you go. Guy Gardner's back. And it's like, it's.
I think it really depends on how it's half of his DNA.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways this could go. You could theoretically, at least for a while, until you start coming into like issues of not having good copies of certain genes or whatever, get by with only having one set of each chromosome. But if it was like mixed in to each individual chromosome, I fear like there's just even more problems there.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the Voldarian, this wasn't even what Bo Smith, we're getting a little bit, but I got to say, Bo Smith may not have even intended this, but having the biological drive that he has to have the power which made him seek out the thing which made him into this Voldarian warrior character, that explains why he had the fearless thing that made him become a Green Lantern. Why, when he recovered from his coma, he immediately sought power. It's like, why, when they took his ring away, he immediately sought power again. He had to get some power somehow. It's like, that's a drive that he had. That's his Voldarian nature. That actually explains a lot. It even explains why he had that whole personality change in the 80s. It explains so much, even more than I think Bo intended when he's writing Guy Gardner. It's like that's really good. And then Jeff Johns comes in and says he's not Veldarian anymore, and
Well,
there,
let me ask
he's
a
got a
question about
buzz
that. Is that
yeah.
one of those? Because I don't recall. Is that one of those? Did Dio make this happen things on his list? Because Dan DiDio had a list of things that he wanted to accomplish, and
like bringing Hal and bringing Barry back.
And making killing off Elongated Man because he's silly, and getting rid of Dick Grayson as Dick, call him Richard instead.
Because unfortunately, there are people who are just embarrassed of the past and think it's lame, which is actually one of the things that's led to me believing that Green Lantern is lame, because the further back I go, the cooler the character is.
Yeah. And I think that's probably true, honestly. And even especially if you like you were talking in the chat earlier that like Alan Scott's the only cool Green Lantern. I will argue with that, but I like Alan Scott. Alan Scott's the man, and like one of my personal favorite run or moment. Probably not full run, but in Green Lantern with Kyle, when Kyle is dating Jade and things are cool. And he's being trained by Alan Scott. I'm like every issue was just like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is a neat moment. Oh, this is because there was always that weirdness between Jenny and her dad because they he didn't know about him when they were around before they were raised and
all that
kind of stuff because of the whole thing with the Golden Age Rose and Thorn, and so she's like seeing like Alan take this father-in-law kind of role to Kyle, and she doesn't know what to think about that. And I was like, every issue was cool because of that kind of stuff. I just dug on it. Which is another reason I like Kyle, because I couldn't see Hal in that position, right? Like there's not that kind of generational thing with Alan and Hal. But
I took a long time to come around to liking Kyle just because of the way he was so clumsily introduced.
Yeah,
I don't like him.
It was a terrible story. And the weird thing is the fact that they made Hal a villain. It was that was a dictate, and it was a very late dictate where they did no setup up to issue 48. And it was like the issue before Coast City was destroyed and he's fine, and then 48 he's like mourning it so bad that he goes crazy, and it's like it didn't make any sense to anybody who's read this this character for longer. And of course they brought in a brand new writer who of course had to take this on and bear the brunt of everybody hating him. But what the thing is that he's Green Lantern. They could have killed him off. That would have been a major summer event, that they actually kill Hal Jordan and he does the whole last tradition of the Green Lantern finding his replacement. You could make a really dramatic thing and have it, because he is the ultimate replaceable character. He gets killed. Here's the ring, goes to somebody new. We follow him.
And the frustrating thing about that is we actually saw just the year before this happened, maybe it was 2 years. It was more than that. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Sure. Okay, I don't know what he was going to say, but the guy. I don't know about Hal Jordan, leaving, but he had gotten to be a very tired character at the time, because test pilot. First of all, the test pilot is a very boring job. It's an exciting job, but it's boring to put on the page that every comic book you read, he's flying a plane. Is it going to crash? Of course it's going to crash because that's exciting. And he's constantly losing multi-billion-dollar planes every issue. And it's like, this must be a really bad company because none of their planes are capable of staying up in the air. And I know the test pilot is that's based on the Chuck Yeager era, when every kid idolized Chuck Yeager, and test pilot would be an awesome job. And it's like, we didn't think that way in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And they kind of brought it back with that New Frontier book. They really played up his whole test pilot thing, and that made more people want to see Hal Jordan again. But it's like, then he's back to doing the whole crashing a plane every issue.
Well, that's why I've always said this really should have just been Adventures in Space from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Alan Scott makes sense not to be Adventures in Space, but everything after him should just be like Space Marshal. Like
Yeah.
if you have Space Marshal, and I would probably like Green Lantern a lot more if it was always just Space Marshal, because that's what I expect from the series, and it's almost never what I get.
Issue 150, I think it's pardon me, it might actually be earlier than that. I forget when it is, but in 1982, Marv Wolfman had the Guardians say, look, you're supposed to be protecting an entire sector of space, and you're always hanging around Earth fighting Tattooed Man or, fighting Evil Star. You're supposed to be off in space. So you are banned from being on Earth for 1 solid year. And they actually made that storyline last for several years in the comics. And it was just him going to other planets, and that was fun. Because, you come up with, it's like Star Trek. You come up with a new weird planet every month, some new challenge.
Yeah. I just want a good space Western. That's all I want is a good space Western,
Yeah.
Have ring, will travel.
Yeah. It's going to be very expensive to do alien planets. And I get that's why Lanterns is just 2 non-powered guys exploring the West type thing, and they're going to have their rings. They're going to do powers and stuff like that. But it's, I would much rather see
like a missed opportunity right now, especially though.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, what if we were to reinvent this idea, and for the sake of the Space Western, instead of making him a test pilot, what if we make him an astronaut?
Yeah.
All the big space stuff is happening right now. It's space race number 2. Like, this is the time to get people on board.
And that's what if I was making a Green Lantern movie, that's what I would do. I would make him part of the space program, because that's more what kids recognize.
You can still make him a test pilot just for the shuttles. Like, this was only supposed to be like a like an orbit mission for a test, but then things went wrong and he just started drifting out into space and then became a Lantern.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. This goes back to the Arrows thing where, Green Arrow couldn't be called Green Arrow because that's too hokey. And when they first
Arrow.
When they first pitched Arrow, it was like, it sounded like LA Law plus there's some vigilante stuff. But it's like Black Canary and Green Arrow and all of their characters worked at a law firm or something.
They really just wanted to do like a Batman show without Batman. That's what they wanted to do.
That's what they did, yeah. They even had Ra's al Ghul as the bad guy. Yeah. They just wanted to do Batman. And yeah, that was pretty obvious. I didn't like Arrow as much as I liked Flash for a while.
Yeah, Flash, like first 2, maybe 3, though it was starting to go down. First like few seasons of Flash was really good TV.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Flash had a team, but in general, really good TV.
Yeah. Everybody has to have a guy in the chair now. I
know.
But, that's why Robin existed, was to give Batman somebody to talk to when he's doing his stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just have a guy lurking around and thought balloons and narration because he has nobody to talk to. Yeah. So I get that the purpose of a guy on the computer passing information is not only practical, but it's also for story reasons,
Yeah, but they wanted to do like a full NCIS team, like they brought in multiple people. It wasn't just a guy in the chair who later turned out to be the Reverse Flash. It's just like... This is how TV is. Every show has to have their squad. And it's like, you could still have the friends. You could have them interact with other characters regularly so that you can do drama and stuff. But do they all need to be involved with their superhero life?
Yeah. Yeah, I hated how Barry reveals his identity to everybody he meets. Like the first time he meets them. Yeah. After he takes like half a season to show his fiance or eventual
like
fiance.
I think but Green Lantern, actually a good way they did it right. I don't know if this was ever in the comic, but the animated series they did not too long ago, where the ship's got an AI for him to talk to, so he could still run around through space, and there's like that dialogue that can happen.
Yeah. By the way, I've never had a problem with the Green Lanterns having a spaceship, even though they can survive in space.
Why not?
Because one,
it's good to have
you
a
need
home.
to sleep. You need to go to the bathroom. You need to go to the kitchen and make yourself a sandwich,
Lone Star up, have a space RV.
It's what's that?
What? Lone Star it up. Have a space RV.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what you have to have if you're going to have long missions. You can't be concentrating the whole time on keeping your oxygen and going full speed. I mean, ask any trucker. You can't do it for constant hours. So yeah, you need a ship. It almost makes sense that any of them should have a ship.
And you don't need to bring it to like every planet you go to. Like if you know you're already within range, you can leave it in a safe spot, fly to the planet so that your space RV doesn't get destroyed, and then fly back after you're done with that.
Right.
And that works perfectly fine.
Yeah, but it's like Aben Sur doesn't need to explain why he has a ship. The others need to explain why they don't bother with one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Hal, where do you pee?
Yeah.
You just find a rock somewhere and let it out or whatever. That's fine. But like
Actually, the ring takes care of your nutritional needs. When they punished Guy Gardner and put him on,
I knew it took care of in.
You remember how Superboy Prime is at the center of a red sun?
Yeah.
And then all the Green Lanterns are around holding his cage, which of course makes no sense because it's a red sun. That already takes care of it. But yeah, they all are on. There's like 100 Green Lanterns on full concentration, holding a cage around him constantly, and they explain that the ring will take care of your food, your sleep, and everything. You just are on solidly. And
I knew they took care of the in. I didn't know it took care of the out as well.
Yeah.
I prefer to just believe that there's a reason the Fear Lanterns are yellow.
Yeah. I don't like the multicolored lantern.
I don't either.
Thing.
I think it's lame.
Yeah.
And it's made the storytelling more lame too. Like you already took a character that I was having a hard time thinking was cool, but now all he fights are other people that are just like him, but with different colored lights. Like he doesn't even get to fight cool, interesting alien enemies unless that alien happens to be like a lantern.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It's all different colored lanterns now. That's pretty much every time I take a look at it, that's all he's doing. But yeah, there's way too much of that.
Makes it easier for the artist
I like
to draw.
The tattooed man. Like if they could just like find a way to explain that he's a space villain instead, so that you could run into him in space. He's a cool character. Have more characters like that.
They made the tattooed man a good guy. Put him on the Justice League. It's like they keep doing that. They put Lex Luthor in the Justice League. The Justice League makes no sense.
Honestly, I want to see that.
What's that?
I want to see Lex in the Justice League.
I know that he is. I don't know too much about it, and of course, it's probably all moot now. Probably doesn't apply anymore. I don't know.
The Justice League just slowly becomes like the UN.
Well, I had a whole bunch of images, but they're they're in Matt's hands. We don't know where he is.
Send them to me.
Oh, well, they're in my hands too. I have control of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah. Now,
if you want to, I don't know. Is there like a next button? Can you just go to the next image, or do you have to?
I'm trying to figure that out. I've never done the PDF before.
Oh, okay. He turned it into a PDF.
Or whatever this like display thing is.
I just sent him a whole bunch of images.
Oh, it's his full screen layout. Okay. See, you can put a PDF. If he had this in PDF form, then I'd be able to control it because there's buttons. Okay. This is an application on his screen. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. Unless you have them on your end. I could switch out the window.
You know what? They're all in the Facebook chat.
Okay.
I sent them to him over the Facebook, the messenger. They're in there. But I don't actually have them on my computer. I just dragged them into
I already figured
chat.
out chat. Sorry the delay. That is Windows Photo Viewer.
I see. Sad Robot. Okay.
Yeah.
They be letting anybody in the league know, huh? Yeah, we can't even feature your quotes. We can't feature the good quotes on the video.
I have all that control. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. The thing that I wanted to talk about with Green, I have a whole bunch of clothing things that I sent. There's And this is
Yeah, let's see
something
if I can
Nerdrotic
find
was
it.
just talking about in talking about the Green Lanterns. It's like we keep having people in Hollywood who are ashamed of the fact that they're doing superheroes. They think Green Lanterns sound silly, so they call it lanterns. They think Green Arrow sounds silly, so they take that off and they don't let him wear a green costume. And they, this goes back to the X-Men. Everybody's wearing leather, and they make fun of what do you want us wearing yellow spandex? They
Blue and
finally
yellow
worked.
spandex. It's like, yes, I want you wearing blue and yellow spandex.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's why in Deadpool they're going, finally, yes, you get to see the real.
Was there a
Wolverine
specific image you
costume.
wanted to share? I could get it up on screen.
It's
From the
okay. I
chat.
just wanted to.
Okay.
I was showing I grabbed some clothing from the 70s and some clothing.
Okay, like
from
the very most
the
recent
goth
pictures.
clothing, yeah, and just making the point that Superman. It's like people say, why would you ever dress this way? Well, having Superman as the first superhero, and he should be the first superhero in a proper
Absolutely.
universe, he dresses that way because that's how they dress on Krypton. Cape is a normal thing. You could even explain away the boxers, the briefs on the outside that everybody thinks is so silly. It's like that's perfectly explainable as a clothing item on Krypton, and in real life.
Yeah.
For us, it makes sense because
I got
you're
your
wearing
goth pictures.
tights. You're wearing tights, and this is a level of modesty. You having something over those tights right around there. But also, it is a different color. It draws your eyes to that. So it's at the same time it's modesty, and at the same time it also draws your eyes to, that area. So there's his costume makes sense, and then when he debuts and somebody calls him Superman because he won't give his real name. Then, and usually it's Lois Lane who does, but I'm just saying, if somebody says that's Superman, it becomes his appellation. And that sort of creates the idea in the same way that goth is a thing. It's like, this is what goths wear. Well, who would have ever thought to wear that in the same way the 70s, you look at the 70s, it's like there was an entire civilization that thought dressing this gaudy was perfectly fine. And they made their furniture look that way, and their countertops. We had an orange countertop when I was a kid, bright orange color countertop. So it's like there's trends, there's styles, and
mod
Yeah.
fashion was like just out
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
And some of
And
these
that's not
characters
the
were
silliest.
developed during mod fashion.
Yeah, bell bottoms. We all laugh at them now, but it's like
no, we need to bring bell bottoms back.
I agree. Bell bottoms are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just saying, people didn't at the time go, oh, this looks silly. And it's the same way when you establish this is what, if you have superpowers and you're going to go fight crime, you come up with a name like Captain something, and you wear a cape and you have a thing on your chest because that's what Superman did. And, he establishes the pattern of, this is what superheroes do. And then other people do it. It doesn't seem silly to do it. And it's like, if you would just embrace that, I'm talking to the media companies that try to do superhero stuff, just embrace that. This is a world where they do this and nobody bats an eye about it.
So
I
here's
think
the
part of
thing.
the problem is that our distance from the American circus, which was a big inspiration for like Superman's outfit and a lot of early stuff, but a lot of that like circus apparel survived in the offshoot of it, the American professional wrestling scene.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh, cool.
Hey,
I don't need this
stranger.
up anymore.
What I was going
we
to say.
survived.
So I missed out on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Got a call from my dad, so I had to follow in on it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we're done. It's over.
Okay. Well, that was a great show, everybody. Tune in next week when I believe we're talking about
Well, we were
April, I think.
we were talking
Anyway.
about how media companies are embarrassed by superheroes. So
Yeah.
everybody has to wear drab clothing. That you can't have code names, and they have to call them code names. They can't just say my superhero name is this because can't
Yeah.
say the term superhero. Hey, there
That's
you
nice.
go.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I like
I like
that.
that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well done, Cartoonicus.
Well, the thing too is like even talk about how some of that type of fashion has survived the circus into wrestling. You even see into the 90s, with very, very few exceptions, most wrestlers started getting to black leather as like their outfit. Like even that started disappearing there. With some like, especially women's wrestling and bringing in some like foreign wrestling people like the Japanese and stuff. You do get some color and stuff brought back to the outfits, but that fashion even started dying there. The place where it survived, where it's like everybody's just wearing black leather.
And I think
That
black
does show
leather
that.
can be the right fit for a specific type of outfit. I mean, you look at like Jack Knight Starman, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was the appropriate thing for that kind of character.
But
But
when everybody's wearing it,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Well, the thing is, though, it shows that fashion does change, and time period does matter. When you say, Hutch, that they should just, come up with a universe in which that's the style, I say there was a universe that's the style, and that's the universe it was born into. In the 1930s, Superman was a zillion times more fashionable than that would be to us now. So I've been saying for years, there's a certain
Well-
point when all these superheroes need to just be sent back to their original time so that the things they created actually make sense.
Yeah, but that's not true. I mean, Superman, the outfit Superman was wearing, it wasn't unheard of, but it was no longer common, and it hadn't been for 15 years, even in the circus.
No, but what I'm saying,
strong
see, what he
member
was
order.
saying though is he was comparing this to times when in the past when a fashion has come along and then everybody jumped on that and everybody did it. I'm pointing out that in superhero comics, that's exactly what happened. Superman did it, and then everybody else did it anyway. So even there, you are seeing trends and fashion, being created. They're just being created in a fictional universe.
Right. But the thing is within what I'm saying as a counterpoint though is that like Superman did it because it was this memory of this forgotten thing, right? Which you talked about, but it was a memory of a past thing. But
a very recently forgotten thing, but it,
Yes,
compared to
yes.
where it is now.
Compared to where it is now. But that set up a frame in that universe for this to be the thing, right? So Batman's costume remains Batman's costume because it's Batman's costume. We don't need to go back and say, well, that doesn't look like something you'd see today. Yeah, because Batman doesn't live in your neighborhood, right? Batman lives in Gotham City, and that's how things are done there.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, these people are trying to not look like a normal person, right? Like if Batman dressed in fashion that Bruce Wayne would normally dress in, that would just make it kind of more obvious that he's Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. And it's one of those things like, and it's fun. You look at the Elseworlds and Batman as a pirate, or Batman looks for the Victorian Jack the Ripper, and you have that kind of tweak on it. Yeah, that's fun, but that doesn't really, necessitate that has to be how everything on there is, right? It can just fit on what it is.
Well, and the main reason we never go
something
back to
else.
a full period piece for the main thing is because people want to work with like smartphones and modern day computing and everything.
Right.
So
They do,
one of the
but
things that I do want to
yes,
go ahead and
that's-
point out is what I was talking about before I left. Was a frustrating thing about the introduction of Kyle Rayner, and you were talking about how, like, why didn't they actually have a torch pass?
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because just before this, DC had done a really successful torch pass from Dick Grayson to Tim Drake. And like people just accepted that. They're like, oh, Tim gets the thumbs up from Dick. I like it,
Yeah. Well, they
And,
also had Dick. He didn't give up being a superhero. He had his own thing. So I understand that if it's not the same thing as Hal Jordan being dead,
Yeah.
but we talked. Sorry, you were gone. We talked about how the test pilot thing I've said before is all played out. It's like you can't have every issue he's crashing a plane, and we were tired of it a long time ago, which is why he was an insurance salesman and a toy salesman, and he did other things, and then he went back to flying planes. But test pilot was not a big thing in the 80s and in the 90s, and then they finally kind of brought it back with actually like looking back at what do you call it? Nostalgia. Nostalgia for the 60s when, that era, the jet era.
Well, and I was overhearing somebody say, well, why isn't he on his way to Mars? Right? Why isn't he working for SpaceX?
Yeah.
Like that would be a really cool take on it.
That's what he would be if you introduced him now. Yeah.
Yeah. If Hal Jordan is, or even in his day job, what does Hal Jordan do? Oh, he works for SpaceX, and he's he works for some big company that's got their thing, and he's actually an astronaut pilot. So,
do you think in the DC universe that X is called Lex, and it was bought by Lex Luthor?
Oh my gosh.
Well, given how they probably feel about Elon Musk, I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
Don't give him ideas.
Oh, this is a great comment talking about costumes. I missed this. I went back through it. Jim says if you look at kids today, instead of like One Piece in anime, there is a big audience that doesn't care about stuff looking silly. Yes. And this comes back to what I was talking about, like the cultural expectations within the DC universe, right? And you get this, this crossover between like the tactical look of Guy Gardner and the classic sleek Hal Jordan being something that can coexist together, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's the world expectation. And when you're brought into the universe, you don't care about it being silly because that's part of what you're there for. And you don't have to be embarrassed that you look, because like look at cosplayers, right? Like
it's not even kids today. It's kids every day. When I was in high school, which was when they were doing a lot of this stuff. My middle school and high school is when Jeff Johns was like resetting all over this. Naruto was the big thing, and you had kids with Naruto headbands on their head in school, running around with their hands to their side like planes, doing what they call the Naruto run. That's high schoolers. That's not even little kids. That's high schoolers.
And all of them look dumb, and they don't care, and they know it. Mm-hmm. You track down a Naruto runner and ask them what they're doing, and they'll be glad to tell you.
Yeah.
Actually, superheroes would make sense now because kids live in this age of look at me, look at my fit, check out my fit, rate my fit. They want to stand out and be attention getting. The let's fit in with everybody else and not draw attention. That kind of has gone away because of the evolution of phones, and everybody needs to be a superstar. So that cultural thing, it actually wouldn't be weird to come up with a bright, gaudy costume. Because you want to have something that makes you distinct and makes everybody go, hey, look at you. And you have a name, and the name is marketable, and everybody knows knows you by that name now, and you're trending.
Well, that goes back to the other thing, though. We know it's not because of the kids. It's never been because of the kids. We want to get the kids. It's because the people working on it are embarrassed.
Right. And that comes back to this whole thing. And Twitless and I have gone back and forth about this. My animosity toward people that feel like that they're in comics, this like super important ninth art, this American art form, right? And they're like, oh, I don't want people to know that I write about superheroes and their outside underpants. I should be respected as the artiste. It's like, dude, just like embrace it, because you are out there like doing something important, even if it's silly. That doesn't mean it's not important.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one of the most important things to American culture in the last century. So,
well, I mean, like look at it like this way: Humphrey Bogart. I don't know if you guys know much about Humphrey Bogart, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Humphrey Bogart was a super important cultural icon. He was part of some of the most important films in history, and he was a tiny little dwarf of a man who was a giant goober. I mean, he was a silly guy, right? And he's just a little tiny pocket-sized goofball. But like,
well, it's like that part that I don't understand, right? Is that they're trying to be like, I need to be taken seriously. It's like, you are already joining one of the most influential parts of American culture in the last century. How could you take yourself any more seriously than embracing what it already is? Like, this is an honor and a privilege.
Well, and you have this, and in fairness, there has been this long propaganda campaign, like going all the way back to the 40s, of the Librarians Association, and the all the politics that got involved into the Comics Code Authority. And I think the Comics Code was a good thing, but what led up to it was a lot of backstabbing and in-group politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with that, you had this fact where like there were a lot of forces that were compiled to say, oh, they're just funny books and they're not serious. They shouldn't. But the pull, right, of comics medium was running rampant over top of all that stuff, right? And like the hoity-toits, like this, we talked about this with the New Yorker, right? The hoity-toits had to acknowledge comics from the New Yorker, and they also ended up, because they had to acknowledge the New Yorker, they had to acknowledge the newspaper strip. And so the newspaper was considered like the next, it was given, especially in the 70s and 80s, it was given this impromptu of culture. It was allowed for that. And the funny books were there, and they were part of that conversation, and they were part of that. People were talking about it that way, and they were increasing to talk about it that way. But these insecure little weaklings that were in the comic industry refused to win and acknowledge that because of films like Superman and because of some of these other cultural touchstones, that the funny books were ascending to their place alongside newspaper strips and alongside editorial cartoons and comics, that they were ascending to this place where they had been, where the force had been there all along. And instead of writing it out and letting the Academy catch up to what the mass market had already been doing, they were like, oh no, we need to make our comics more like Mouse. We need to make our comics more like Watchmen.
Somewhere, Twitless just flinched.
I know.
Feel a disturbance in the force.
That's right. The old opening for the show where they talked about Mouse. That's right. I forgot about that.
That's back to one of my old stalking horses.
I know. It's a variation on, but it's a good point. And I've over the last several years, as we've watched Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything that we love, be absolutely destroyed because the people in charge are not people who love it. They aren't people who grew up loving it. They are young writers who assigned to work on it, and they want to make it into something that they like. Mm-hmm. And you have, it's not a young writer, but the old producer who gets Star Wars, and you think, well, she was working with all these guys, she should be right up there with them and liking Star Wars. And she's like, there's not enough women in it. And I'm like, that's fine. I wouldn't mind it's been too much of a problem. There's only 2 women in all of Star Wars. There's Mon Mothma and Luke and Leia, and Aunt Beru's dead. And, there needed to be more females. Absolutely. I'm fine with that.
It's just, how do you bring them in? Like, who are these more females?
Yeah. But then you get that Last Jedi where you have Haldo just scolding the flyboy for being arrogant and for being the hot shot and giving him the withering stares and talking him down and embarrassing him. And it's like, why do I even like Star Wars?
Well, and it's so funny because, and it's so frustrating, especially in that movie, because he was clearly correct.
Yeah. Not knowing what she had planned, he's right.
Well, and even with what she had planned, he was still right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the frustrating thing about it, because that he's right, because at the end of the movie he's alive and Lorna Dern is dead.
Yeah.
And they didn't both have to be dead, but but she
those movies are just top to bottom, they're just a big mess. Even the first one. But it's like, if only John Favreau, right? That got his name right. It's John Favreau. If only he'd been in charge. If only somebody who really loves Star Wars and is like devoted to it and wants to see, where does Star Wars go from here? And not somebody who's just like, reset Star Wars, bring back all the stuff that they like, the AT-ATs and the TIE fighters and the things. I'm like, well, that's done. Oh no, then put the Empire back and call it something else, and give us the same old thing. And it's like, it's committee. It's not anybody who really loves Star Wars. You watch the behind the scenes stuff. It's like they're not Star Wars fans. Not anybody that I would recognize as a Star Wars fan. And same with Star Trek. Same with Doctor Who. Same with everything. It's like they keep talking about making a new GI Joe, and it's like, if you are at least having Larry Hama as a consultant, it's going to fail. Why are you taking IP, which means intellectual properties that already exist? They have people who love them, or you wouldn't want them. They exist with somebody who likes them as they are. Why would you take it away from the people who love them in the hopes that they're going to turn it into?
Oh, no. See, the new audience thing has always just been an excuse. It always has.
Yeah.
Actually, Martin, George R. R. Martin, whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter what you feel of his work. He's somebody who's experienced in this particular area. In a recent interview, was talking about how his entire career writing, people of wanting to be adapted stuff. Like, it took a long time before he let somebody adapt a song of Ice and Fire into Game of Thrones, and they had to answer a lot of questions and everything that only people who really read the book and put things together would be able to answer. But he was talking about how the industry is just filled to the brim with people who don't care about who the creator was, what the creation was. They really just want to use your thing to be able to do the thing they wanted to do. They want to put their mark on something, and clearly they're just not very good, or else they didn't need your thing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, I mean, and the other part of it too, this gets into my conspiratorial take on all of it, right? Because a lot of people will say, because there's a thing that, when it comes to why are they ruining all of our childhood properties, right? People say, oh, it's this conspiracy, and
It's just ego.
The deep state. Well, and I think actually, the counterpoint to that, to the conspiracy idea, to the Marxist understanding of it, that most people put up is these people are too stupid to be coordinating, right?
Mm-hmm.
the Hollywood guys, they're all just too stupid to be coordinating. That can't possibly be what's happening. They couldn't tell the difference between, they're took us in a hole in the ground, so to speak, right? So, why would you think that they could be? They think, but no, the deal is this new man deconstructionism, right? This Marxist deconstructionism, it's in the air.
Yeah.
Right. It's in the water. People ingest it all the time and don't even understand that that's what's happening. So you don't have to have a conspiracy, right? When you've had 100 years in the school system to tell people how to tell people a lie about how the world is shaped, right?
Yeah, I bring this up. I think I brought the same thing up last time when we were talking about the whole WB purchase with Netflix and Paramount, which unfortunately it turned out that they went with Paramount. I think they're ridiculous, but okay. Either way would have been a bad choice, but it was going to go with one
money
of them.
talks.
Yeah. It was weird. Netflix just has more money. I think the old people just like Paramount more because Paramount's old.
Yeah.
There's that
Paramount,
legacy there.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about that, and we were talking about how the joke about the Netflix wokeification of things is but Paramount kind of has been doing that too. But you don't need any of the studios from the top to be telling them to do that, because all of them were educated into this mindset to begin with. All of the smaller studios and stuff working with them. If you work in America, there's a really good chance that these are the type of people that are going to be making your product. Not just the US, Canada too, even some parts of Europe will be like that. And the only time that you get stuff outside of that is when you're either working with the very few select people that aren't in that circle, or you're working overseas, right? And even at the same places, when Netflix does something overseas in Japan, You don't get any of that problem over there. And that it's because that is just the air. It's the ocean that people are swimming in over here.
Well,
and the fish
instead
don't
of
know
people
they're
just
swimming in the
Well, and instead of people just making things, they're like, "Oh, I want to go to college to go make movies, or I want to go to college to be a writer," right? Instead of just like, working a 9 to 5 job and cranking out a novel on your weekends. Like people aren't living the way that older generations of writers learn to write by experiencing things, and I think that makes a weaker art form, but it also makes because I mean you should read all the good books. I haven't read all the good books. I've read a few of them, right? But and I'm not saying that like formal education doesn't have a place in the world, but a formal education is not a replacement for a lived experience, right? And you can't write about the struggles of a man on his own if you've never been a man on his own. You're not going to get the gravitas and all of that until you've actually been out there and slayed the dragons a little bit,
Well,
or at least we're part of the party, even if the bard isn't the one who slayed it, he was right there when it happened.
Yep.
And he can talk to the person who slayed it too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's not about Green Lantern necessarily, though. We got I come back and derail everything.
Except it kind of is, because it's kind of how we ended up in this situation.
Yep.
There's the cover I was looking for. I just sent it to you on the Facebook. The one I was talking, it's like I shouldn't have brought it up if I didn't have it in front of me to show everybody. I'm sorry. But the Green Lantern 143 is the one. It's George Perez. Of course, that's why it's good.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. We got. I know we kind of go in every direction when we're talking about this stuff. It all brings up new stuff, but the main thing when I look at lanterns, it's like I understand that Damon Lindelof says he likes Green Lantern, even though he said that green is stupid, but he was joking about it. But it's like if they didn't take green off of it. What did you say?
There's nothing that Damon Lindelof doesn't say he likes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he really likes Green Lantern, but I'm, it's
except girls. I'm gonna guess.
I wish that this was made by somebody who really loves Green Lantern, because I don't think it is. I think it I don't know. Maybe I'm being too mean. I haven't seen it. This is just the trailer, but I would much rather see this than the True Detective Green Lantern.
To be fair, it's not just this trailer that we're reacting to. It's the last 11 years of so many things, and we're putting it all together. We know what to expect even before we even see the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I yeah. Have you seen the? You saw. I mean, you guys are more Marvel fans than I am, but there was that mini series after I'm Falcon. After Falcon, I'm getting old, guys. I'm drawing a blank on stuff that I know. Falcon became Captain America in the movies, right? And I liked Falcon. I really like him as a character. And then they had him become Captain America, and then they had this mini series, which I finally tracked it down and watched it because I don't have D+, but I bought it in a little metal case book and watched it. And it's like they just go on and on and on about how he's the black Captain America. And it's like,
is this Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Thank you. Yeah. It's like his being black as Falcon was never mentioned. It's not a big deal. I like that about his character. They're friends. And then as soon as he becomes Captain America, they just keep bringing up his skin color. And
you got to relive what us comic readers had to live when they did that in the comics like a decade before that. And it's
let's be specific.
The Falcon is a hero in his own right. Why on earth did you make him Captain America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. But to be clear, it's the Marvel Comics readers.
Yeah.
Because Hutch was reading other comics then.
Yes, but
To be
but
fair, I
it's-
mean, some of that stuff was kind of happening to DC, just not to the same extent.
Yeah, and not quite in that window at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Quite.
it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the circles we are in. It's like I know so many black military guys who love America and don't
But-
need to have an excuse for why they love America. They don't need to have an explanation that they don't hate it because of their skin color. It's like there's plenty of patriotic people, but the people making the movies, that's the way they feel. It doesn't reflect the probably a guy who would be like the Falcon in real life.
Well, this is where I chose specifically not to.
I prefer the Blue Falcon.
Yeah.
I finally found out that Blue Falcon's a term. I didn't know where that came from. The cartoon
Like
from
outside
the
of
70s.
the Hanna-Barbera show?
Yeah, Blue Falcon has some kind of meaning. It is a term used in the military. It's actually something I don't remember now. So I shouldn't have brought it up. See, because I don't. I'm not ready. to talk
Yeah,
about
well,
it.
it's because it's BF. It's
Uh-huh.
a buddy effort. It's somebody who like betrays or screws over or abandons a teammate.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So it's like technically the word is buddy. I don't want to swear.
Right. Right.
But then they take a different BF and he's a Blue Falcon.
Gotcha.
Okay. So it's kind of like Cockney rhyming slang. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, refers to somebody who causes problems or get their fellow service members in trouble. Okay. See, I never knew that when there was a superhero called Blue Falcon.
Well,
I bet nobody
it says-
watching it Saturday morning knew what that term meant.
Right.
According to the summarizer, it became popular in the 80s.
Oh,
So that would mean that the Blue Falcon cartoon would predate
oh, okay.
the.
So it's not
the
drawn
slang.
from that. Rather, that's drawn from. Well, so they kind of ruined the cartoon then. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought that it was the one was the other. It's like kind of like how there's a white feather in the
Yeah.
Inferior 5.
5.
Yeah, which you have to be familiar with that term to even get the joke. But yeah, the white feather is a scaredy cat. So
Chicken.
No, I think they just did the old naming thing where they picked an animal and put a color on it, like many vigilante superheroes were before that.
I had a thought about the what do you call it, the Global Guardians in DC Comics. How they have like international superheroes. It's like every time there's an international superhero, they have to be named after an animal that is relevant to their country or something like that. It's like they're never just Blue Falcon based in Paraguay. It has to be something related to Paraguayan culture. Whereas if you're from America, you can be any of a number of superheroes. But if you're from another country, you'd better tell us what country you're from in your superhero identity.
They call me the Texas Wrangler.
Maybe I'm wandering because I'm done talking about Green Lantern. I guess I've made all my points.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I gotta share this here. Hang on, guys.
okay.
I just saw I was doing that little thing and I just saw the worst thing ever. Okay.
Uh-oh. Are we ready to show the worst thing ever on our...
Yeah, it's really not the worst thing ever. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Place your bets, everybody. What is the worst thing ever?
Hell.
Well, it's not hell.
Death from Within. Okay.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah,
You know-
not actually the worst thing ever, but it's definitely has a place on the list.
Now, where did you learn the true origin of the Blue Falcon term? What did you look it up on? Urban Dictionary or
Oh yeah, I
Ask
just
Croc
did
or
a
what?
I just did a Brave search, and a bunch of like Reddit posts and stuff came up
Oh, okay.
of Marines that were talking about it from their time in the service.
You use Brave browser too?
Yes,
Cool.
Well, I've been
Okay.
using it for like a decade now.
yeah. I started
I
using
use
it
it-
pretty much exclusively in 2020.
I use it until I get frustrated with it and have to revert to Google once more. This happens pretty much on a daily basis.
Hmm. Well, I'm done.
All right.
Is there anything
Well,
to
guys,
talk about?
no, I think that's it as far as the changes in the Green Lantern we talked about. You guys talked about space. You talked about costumes.
Fashion.
According to Jim in the chat, he said that that everybody decided Superman should be a goth. I don't know what I think about that, but sure. And
Oh, it's because we were showing the goth outfits and stuff,
Yeah.
talking about like things fitting within like an accepted culture.
Yep.
Right.
yep.
Accepted
Listen,
culture.
I think-
That's a good term for it. Yeah.
I think what we should do is we should just convince WB to rival their own show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go over to Hanna-Barbera and get the license for a live-action Space Ghost series and do a space western where he's just the space sheriff and do what Lantern should have been.
I would not trust them to bring back.
No.
Space Ghost.
I'm telling you specific. I'm going to direct it. That's the
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing.
Okay. Then I would really love to see
I only
that.
wish that I was a billionaire so that I could produce that picture. I would put up hard earned coin for that, but I don't have any. That would be amazing. So, did any of you guys read there was a 3-issue miniseries, a Green Lantern Space Ghost miniseries that was put out 19, I think it was.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, that part of the whole like Hanna-Barbera stuff and Looney
It
Tunes
came
and
out
everything.
after the first DC meets Hanna-Barbera set of books, so I think it was between them, but it was after I think it was immediately after Mark Russell's weird Snagglepuss miniseries,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you know about that, but it's weird,
Mhm.
man.
The interpretations of all those Hanna-Barbera characters into the DCU is very strange. You know,
Some
it's
of them
like
are really in the DC meets. Some of that was really great.
yeah,
The Snagglepuss series was not really in the DC universe. It was its own thing.
okay.
I like
Was
the standalone Flintstone comic. I thought that one was kind of fun.
I didn't read that one.
You're referring to the ones where they made them all like realistic live actiony.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
I mean,
like they did that with the wacky races and Flintstones looked like that. Yeah.
In the Mark Russell one, they were drawn pretty much like modern comics, where it was closer to hyper realistic, but they were all
House
still
style.
like animals and stuff, animals and people together. So Snagglepuss was still a pink cougar, right? The dog whose name escapes me, Huckleberry Hound, was in fact a dog,
Yeah.
right?
Good. Okay.
So, but everyone was gay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Obviously. That's
was-
just how modern comics are.
Well, and it's Mark Russell. Everything Mark Russell writes is some vague, or not so vague, like reiteration of his own proclivities.
Yeah.
He can't see outside of that lens.
It's funny.
And
It's
so,
like it used to be like the real world where if a character didn't tell you what their sexual orientation was, you just assumed they were straight. Now it's like the inverse of the real world where you just have to assume every character is gay unless they tell you otherwise.
right. And anyway, with it, it's set like in their version of like a 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that, in the South, and they're all like a bunch of them are performers, and they've got this small town politics going on where everybody in town, they all go to the theater, but everybody hates the actors because they're all gay, and they're all racial minorities, and they're all talking animals, and they hates them some talking animals. It's really weird.
Yeah. There's a just related to, we were talking about realistic Hanna-Barbera as real people. Peugeot made a 60-second or no, almost 2-minute ad of the Wacky Racers. The Wacky Races. And,
I love that one. That one's great.
It's like it's spot on. Everything is adapted. Like it just like it's the right
Car
level of
ads do
cartoony.
everything better.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, did you
Why
see?
couldn't-
It was a Brazilian car ad, different one,
Yep.
where they did like the Dungeons and Dragons one.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that one's great too.
Okay, I'll have to look.
It was the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, so it had like that cast from it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons ad from Brazil.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I
that
think-
one was a Brazilian one.
I think the Peugeot one is from Brazil. Is that possible? Just because the channel that it's on YouTube is VML Brazil.
It might be.
so-
They just do some good ads down there.
Peugeots are a French car, but they may make them
Yeah.
in Brazil too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, even if they sell them, like you have local commercials for companies like everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I mean,
you're right.
like,
You're right. That's French
Volkswagens are-
text. It's French text on
Yeah.
the ad. So yeah, it's French. But yeah, why couldn't they just? I would so love to watch a full length movie made like that, and if you gave it to anybody in our media world and said make Wacky Races, they would immediately drop F-bombs in it and
They get a hardcore action show.
right, make it
Racing.
something you can't take kids to. That's just because it has to be something that they feel respectable to show when
Unless
they go to their
occasionally
local meetings.
you get somebody who happens to be actually like a big fan of the product. Like
That's the other way. Yeah.
when James Cameron did Alita, because he was an actual fan of Battle Age. He's been trying to get it off the ground for many, many years.
So
He did Alita right. Or there was another one, sort of. Actually, this was more like Wacky Races than its source material. But when the Wachowskis did Speed Racer, they weren't trying to make it edgy or anything. They were just trying to do an over-the-top fun Speed Racer movie. But you have to find people who actually like the source material, and that's very rare.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'm not sure that the Speed Racer thing was a six. I mean, as if you're a fan of Speed Racer, do you think that's a good adaptation or not? I don't know.
It is if you continue reading Speed Racer, because there have already been multiple iterations of it. It's not very good if you only ever go to the original Mach Go 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 and the animation made off of it.
Okay, I've never
But
seen
it really
Speed
captures a lot of the at least the spirit of Speed Racer, but then it gets into some like really weird territory, and it's just because the Wachowskis have special effects like abilities that nobody else has at the time, so they want to do crazy things. And like this almost feels more like a Wacky Races movie than a Speed Racer movie.
Mhm.
Honestly,
Now I have to watch. Now I got to watch another Wachowski brothers film. Thanks.
am I alone in thinking Wacky Racers would actually be great as a video game?
It
Well-
would be great as a video game.
Yeah, probably. Twitless shows up at the last to say my perspective is that the creator doesn't need to like the property, but has respect enough to treat it properly for the intended audience.
I
think that's
How do
agree
you
with
get
that,
one
but I
without the
think the Venn diagram these days tends to be a complete circle.
right. I mean, well, and it's like who, right? Like who is the person that is going to take the job just as a coal as a coal burner anymore, right? I mean, unless it's like Sam Jackson who just works to work, right? And he goes there and acts like Sam Jackson anytime somebody waves some money at him, and that's fun. But But what are the chances that I mean, most of the time, if you're looking at the director, you're looking at the producers, they're not there to just do a job anymore. They're there for the message, or they're there for to generate the right number of flops so that they can have their tax write off, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I think you're 100% right.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
I just think that the type of person you're talking about in the modern day tends to just be the Venn diagram of a perfect circle with the other person I was talking about. Like, there's almost no difference now.
Right.
I'm just trying to imagine how someone builds up enough respect for something, not to mention care about it, without liking it.
Yeah. There's just the world needs more jobbers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. Jim's got the money on it. I'm taking over this book, killing the main character, and making it something else. So deal with it. No, I'm just gonna go read my 1,000 back issues. Thanks. it's like total side note. We'll end on this because we're just rambling now. But earlier, like the other day, my buddy Nick over on Facebook, puts a post together. Everybody knows what comics they love, but what's the comic that you read that was so bad that it made you stop reading comics, or almost? And my answer was like, that never happened. I read something I don't like, I just go into the file cabinets, pull out a classic.
Although, speaking of those kinds of really, really bad comics, did you guys see what I posted on the Discord?
No, I don't think so. Let me look.
I'm going to put it up here.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, who here has seen the trailer for the next Spider-Man movie?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, no, I'm skipping that.
I haven't seen a Spider-Man movie since Homecoming.
Well,
was that the first one?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the last one was great.
I skipped out on Phase 4 anyway, but
yeah, I did watch Homecoming, but I was so like burnt by Endgame that I haven't watched a Marvel property since then. Well, that's not true. I did watch the Morbius movie because I thought it was going to be terrible, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah.
Homecoming could have been good. I understand why you hate Endgame. I don't understand
if it was like.
So, it was when I saw the title, I realized something. So we had this pattern before, right? Home, home, home.
Yep.
So it looks like they're starting a new pattern. Day, day, day. Oh no!
I mean, they kind of sort of already did it though.
One more day. Yeah. They just have to get you just got to get the devil on the phone. Okay. So we'll end with this. The last question for everybody. Who do you want to be the devil that Peter sells his soul to in the new movie, in the upcoming movie?
Is
James Woods.
Is Willem Dafoe?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Hutch,
my God.
who would you go for the devil?
Oh, James Woods is a good choice. I have no idea who this character is in Marvel Comics, so I don't know what he should look like, but I would see James Woods in anything.
Right.
It just
I would want him to be acting
work,
more like he did in Hercules, you know?
Yeah. Just the fact that he can't get work, if he showed up in some big thing all of a sudden as a surprise, it would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude. I would go to the theaters to watch that movie just knowing he had like a 5-minute part, even if I know I'm not going to enjoy the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Just because he was so good as Owlman in that one cartoon. So it's like,
oh, yeah.
He was. I don't, let's see, something besides, if I have to pick somebody besides James Woods, what is the devil character like in Marvel?
Well, it's Mephistopheles,
classic.
So he's pretty much a classic, scam you out of your soul kind of devil.
I was asking,
shady, shows up in a suit, crossroad demon type guy.
is Willem Dafoe too old to play the part?
I would go with Bruce Campbell.
Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one too. Yeah,
that would be really. All of those. I had actually thought of Dafoe myself. That would be really great. I'm going to cast against type just to be obstinate and say Jack Black. Come on!
I thought you were going to say Justin Bieber.
Jack Black recently played the devil too.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. I forgot.
Yeah. The Dear Satan movie, where he's like write a Santa letter.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Boy, did that movie just come and disappear.
That
Wow.
Robert Downey Jr. would be more cerebral and funny in a cosmic sense.
In the past, I too would have been up for anything with Jack Black, but he's completely, I don't know, he's destroyed his character at this point.
Yeah.
This new, older version of him, I do not like at all.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt. There you go.
Patton Oswalt is the devil? Sure,
doesn't
I'll
have
take it.
Yes.
to play any version of the devil at all. Unless you were doing a version of the Paradise Lost that is as funny to everyone as it is to me reading it, because I find
Yeah,
Paradise Lost hilarious.
I do too.
It's so funny.
An uncommon opinion, apparently, but
Yeah, people don't get it how funny that is.
I
Yeah.
need to read it. I've never read Paradise Lost.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It is long. It's super long, but it's pretty good. Okay, that's it for the show, guys. We're not going to go because I could spend another half hour talking Paradise Lost. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. I'm sorry if you guys tuned in to hear me talk about, like late Old English or Middle English poems. We're not doing it. It's actually romantic, but.
Yeah.
Point is
that's
tune in
that's
next
another
week.
show for
another show. We'll talk about the
exactly
Devil's
2.38
I mean,
years from
Green
today.
Lantern has a poem, technically.
Has a what?
A
A
poem.
poem.
A poem? That's
In
true.
Brightest Day and Blackest Night.
In Brightest Day. I butchered it earlier.
Saying
Say
that.
blankets 3 times and Phyllis will go. I don't want him to go away. I think we're talking next week. I believe we're getting back on the Doug TenNapel train, because I think that was the plan. And then week after that, we actually have a plan, guys. Week after that, we're doing Jeff Smith's Shazam and the Monster Society of Evil. Are you ready? I don't think so. So get out there and read some comics and prepare for next week's Dynamite TenNapel discussion of Creature Tech. Look at that. Look at this. It's almost like we're professionals, but we're not. We get paid nothing, and that's okay. You guys get out there and read some comics, and until next week, this is Reese signing off from Monitor Duty. I should have a closing theme. I just don't.